people, like myself included for sure, like they don't want to set parameters or set goals because they're scared of their responsibility, and they're scared of failing and reach or not reaching that goal, because then that creates, negative emotion. People just want to skate by, including myself. But the thing is, if you don't set goals, then you won't beat yourself up if you don't get to it. So there's no like negative and positive, pulling in both directions to get you to where you need to be.
You're not holding yourself accountable in any way.
You're not holding yourself accountable. Your accountability a lot of the times with, people that, didn't grow up super rich was like, let me just make enough to where I'm like paying my bills, doing my things, just getting by enough for next month. But if you set like a big goal for yourself, then you have to go to that goal, not the goal of just getting by and paying your bills.
Thank you for joining us this week on the Elite Sales Podcast. Happy to have you guys here. Got a Christmas coming up, so looking forward to all of you guys enjoying your time off with your families for the day. Whatever else you guys got going on. You got my special guest for today. I have Misha, Elias.
Hey guys, how you doing? How you guys doing?
Got our engineer who's actually in front of the camera today. We got Yoel, Aynalem.
What's good?
And then we got our guest engineer for today, Clifton Henry.
You.
All right. So first of all, before we get started, I just want to go over a couple quick announcements. First of all, we had our agents writing business for the first time, which is always, one of our favorite parts of the business, for them to, number one, go through the experience, whether it's good or bad, whether it's tough, because, this at the end of the day, it's still work. But, just going through the experience and just having, gain that little bit of extra, every little bit helps in this business, right?
That's right.
So we have, hope I don't botch this name too bad, but it's Apialofi ala Dawa Esse. That's working with Leanne. I tried to do my best on that name.
If anyone has the proper pronunciation, I'd love to hear it.
Yeah. If you want to hop on and correct it. And then we got Patrick Perez working with James Miller. So great job to both of you guys. Writing business for the first time. Really excited for you guys. Let's keep that thing going. When you get your commissions, let's throw it back into the business. Let's invest in some more leads, and let's keep this thing rolling. I want to go over the quick numbers for the week after 3 weeks in the month of December. So, we're always 1 week behind when it comes to these reports. But we have 3 weeks into December. We actually, as a team for FFL Elite, we have issue paid. Issue paid means business has been submitted. It's been issued by the carriers, and it's now the clients are covered. And then now the agents have already been paid on it as well. So it's 774,998 total as a team. So it's 774,998, which puts us right on pace to hit over $1 million for the month, which, we can't go backwards on that. And I want to go over the top 10 for the week. So top 10 out of FFL Elite for all of you guys out there issue paying business. We have at number 10, Maraima Mariscal with 15,712. We have Casey Jarrett, who was down here last week. We had a good time hanging out for the Apple Valley Sales Conference and the Road to Integrity meeting. Casey with 15,882. We have Jonathan Rocafuerte working along with Claudia Arzola with 16,735. We have Fernanda Lopez with 21,600. Great job, Fernanda. We have Brittany Smart with 22,888. Great job, Britt. We have Nicholas Leidecker with 24,888. Yeah, I've been seeing them on Zoom. They've been doing their team dials. He was just on training with FFL Abundant. So great job to all you guys. We have Evelyn Juarez with 25,114. We have Leanne Flores with 25,791. We have Melvin Parker with 34,030 after 3 weeks. And finishing off at number 1, this is issue paid business. So this is real numbers, not submit business. It's actual business that's went through the carrier. It's already been paid out to the agent. And here it's 100% plus comp. So everyone's getting a nice chunk of change off of this. But number 1, probably the funniest public speaker. This guy's hilarious. We have Jason Kodadadian with 46,241 issue paid after 3 weeks. So great job to all of you guys out there.
Woo.
Good job.
Good hustle, guys.
All right.
Good job.
So, we got one week left to go technically, so technically the week is over in terms of that report, but in terms of what we do, I mean, we're constantly pushing, we're constantly looking to move forward, not just as a team, but also for everyone here individually. So with the holidays coming up, it's always a great time to take some time off, get a chance to spend some time with your families, get a chance to actually reflect a little bit. Okay, you guys have any plans for the holidays?
Yeah, work.
Okay.
That's it.
Which I know that's true. Every holiday is like when we're here in the office, like either the day before Christmas, the day after, or New Year's, or whatever it is, we're here.
We'll be here.
Yeah. How about you, Yoel?
Yeah, I'm going to Portland to hang out with my sister and like extended family. But yeah, nice thing is I can do a lot of what I do remotely. So like editing, responding to people. So
right. Yeah, and that's
another day to me. Like
no.
I'm not really like
no. But it's good to reset every once in a while and get a chance to see your family, which you don't see that often.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And and Yoel's able to work remotely because he does a lot of his editing remotely. We get on the phone, we text, we communicate. But as far as all of us, we actually do all have that same opportunity too. With the advent of the virtual sales platform, you don't need to physically be in front of a client. You don't need to physically come to an office. You can actually just get your leads, make sure you continuously take care of that aspect of your business, have enough leads, have inventory, so you have people to talk to, people to call, and then you can just get on remotely, get either virtually or over the phone. Mm-hmm. So when it comes to holidays, I think it's a great opportunity to reflect because most of the time we get busy in a lot of different things. Not always with work, sometimes people get up in their head about their relationships, about personal relationships, about friendships, about different ideas that they want to try to execute throughout the year. And when it comes to that, we don't really get a chance to sit down and reflect as often as most people with, I guess, regular jobs get a chance to do, right? Because my nieces and nephews, they were like FaceTime me the other day. They're actually trying to extort me. They're like, "Hey, we want to buy some cookies and popcorn and blah blah blah." And I'm like, "What are you selling this for?" Mm-hmm. And then they're like, "You better buy some or else you're fired." And I'm like, "Fired from what? Fired from being your uncle?" And they were just they're hilarious. And then they just kept going. And I FaceTimed them. I'm like, "Okay, so what are you guys selling this for?" And then they're like, nothing. It's just for, but send us $20. Like, you kids.
That's funny.
So, with these kids, it's getting kind of warm here, but these kids, I mean, that's their perspective is very different. So like when I'm looking at, all this time talking with family, all this time talking with friends and figure out what they want to do during the holidays. I'm like, what does holidays really mean to you guys? Like, when you guys when the holidays come up, I mean, obviously you're working, but does it mean anything special in terms of spending time with your family?
Yes, of course. I mean, the way I looked at the holidays myself is just, a day to be with the family. I mean, that's pretty much what I think is the most important thing. Just spend time with them, because throughout the whole year, yeah, we get to spend time together, but we're always on the move. I mean, we're always on the go, and we don't really get to appreciate what we have been building, relationship wise, work and everything. So, the holidays will give you that chance because nobody's working. So everybody's, at peace. So that will give you the time to reflect, to think, to start thinking what you're going to do next year. Be grateful more than anything. We got to live, with that. On the first place, be grateful for what you have built. Be grateful for what you have been given, right?
Right.
And be grateful for being alive, right? Be healthy and all that, and continue moving forward. So that's to me, that's what a holiday is, just to time to reflect.
Right.
I don't really party that much anymore. That happens when you get married. you don't get to party that much, but yeah, you get to reflect. In my case, I get to reflect a lot. I write my goals and stuff like that. Yeah. So that's a holiday for me. And the next day is, like the 25th, nobody works. No. But the 26th is another day, and that's when you gotta start putting the in action what you planned. Right. There is no next year. It's only the next day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How about you?
Yeah, I think like it's like a socially acceptable way to like hang out with family. You know, people are off of work, so it's like an excuse for everyone to come together. Like I think like other cultures, we like they have regular times to hang out together, but I think like if you're like busy or like grind, you know, trying to make moves, trying to level up, you might not have that time like on a non-holiday time period to really get with your family. So I think that that's what it is more than anything. As far as like the holiday season is just a magical time when you're a kid. I think now, you know, I'm trying to like actively recreate that magic, because as you get older, just like the holiday season like just goes by so fast. But no, I'm just trying to stay, you know, with my little cousins and nieces and nephews, just be able to, you know, recreate that and just, you know, spend time with them, and so they can remember me when they're older and play with them and stuff like that. So yeah, but it's nothing like, it's like a couple days and then, you know,
Right.
same thing. You wake up, same day, you know, the next day.
As you get older, the kind of that joy goes away because, you know, like, as a kid, you know, you're innocent, and then you have, you know, you're told about Santa Claus. You're told, I mean, which could be real. No spoiler alert here.
You never know.
But you know, I mean, like you just look at the holidays very differently. And as you get older, I mean, we tend to kind of look at it as like, this is the close of the year. This is the end of the year. We can reflect back. So, you know, for a lot of us, you know, we want to look back and you want to see, what did I accomplish this year? You know, how much did I get done? Did I, you know, what did I set out to do? Did I accomplish that? You know, also another question, a couple other questions that you should ask yourself as the year winds down, which, by the way, it's not over. We still have another week, but, you know, until, you know, but during the holidays, you'll have a little bit of time to kind of reflect back, but, you know, ask yourself, what does it really mean to you? You know, what does the holiday really mean to you? You know, did you accomplish what you're trying to accomplish? And then ask yourself, are you spending it the way that you want to spend it? Okay. Because a lot of times, like, you know, we spend our time, or we spend our days, we spend our holidays, or spend, you know, our vacations or whatever, and we're doing it based off of what we have available to us. And what we have available to us is what we made available to us throughout the course of the year based off of our actions. So ask yourself, is this the way that I want to spend it? And then, more importantly, the golden question in this situation is, how will I make next year different? Right? Because if you don't start planning that and think about that right now, like, you're gonna, like, the new year is gonna hit, and then January is gonna hit, February is gonna hit, March is gonna hit, and then you're gonna start figuring it out at that point. And then, you know, you don't genuinely have the whole year for you to figure it out and go out and try to put it together and go out and execute.
Yeah, and one thing that I will say is, like, the year flew by. That's the one thing I'm getting from this. And, you know, I think like that is like internalizing that is like, okay, this next year I got to really, like, you know, we made a lot of progress. We did our thing, but this next year I really, not only personally, but career wise, I really want to make sure that by the time next year comes, I've like have an objective, like, level of progression that I'm like proud of by next year. You know what I mean? So I think like that's what it really woke me up. I was like, wow, it does not feel like that long ago that, you know, Christmas was last year. Like, it's just boom, flown by.
Yeah, and based on that, I mean, you have to really plan your next move. You know, I mean, think about, you know, an army. You know, they don't start training when the war is happening. They are training way before the war happens, if it ever happens, right? And that's, they're always thinking ahead. I mean, how we're gonna react when something pops, right? And that is important because, I mean, by you creating your business plan, by you creating your roadmap, you know exactly where you're gonna be going every month, right? I mean, and if you didn't accomplish the first goal, I mean, you gotta go back and you gotta see, well, what is it that happened, or what is it that I did or didn't do that didn't put me in the first step, right? And then you gotta continue looking at the big plan and making adjustments as you go, you know, I mean, day by day. Planning, everything is on planning, right? I mean, if I go back into this year, I have two boards in my house, in my office. One is my dream board, and the other board is my goal for the month.
Okay.
And
like a dry erase board.
yeah, so I mean, it's a white, you know, board that I can every month I write down my goal and everything, and then I keep track where I'm at. In fact, for this month, last week I posted a picture of the whiteboard with the VP promotion. You see, and I put it right down on my board. I put VP by December the 1st, and it happens. And that comes again to manifesting what you want, but you're looking at it all the time. And man, am I close? Am I far? So you gotta adjust, as things go by. Plus, another thing that you gotta do, and this is something that happened to me sadly by the end of the year. I actually, for the first half of the year, I didn't really hang out too much with the team. I was more like a lone wolf.
Yep.
Right. And I struggle, because I was trying to make the business happen based on guessing. Does that make sense? And then the last 6 months, I started talking to other more, to Clifton, to Marlon, and I started like picking their brains, and John, and then I started like, okay, I gotta go into this direction, and then I started seeing the business that it started like really happening even more. Yeah. Because within the last 3 months, I hit 3 promotions. I hit the manager, sales manager, and VP within 1 month after another.
Right.
So that's something you guys gotta keep in mind. Don't try to do what I did. The lone wolf doesn't work.
Well, because you were much more intentional once you put it on the board, right?
Exactly. So that I recommend you to create your business plan, create your roadmap, and start hanging around with different type of people. The people that is going to help you to take your business, your life to the next level. You gotta choose your actions. You gotta choose your not choose, but you gotta be aware of your habits. If you are distracted by something, get rid of it. The business is not going to distract you. The business is going to encourage you. It's going to teach you. It's going to guide you. That's not a distraction, because some people think that you are working too much and that you're distracted with work. No, you're not. You don't get distracted with work. You're working.
Or you actually start telling yourself. It's interesting. You talked about the military. You said in the military that you got trained before you actually go into battle, right?
Right.
Or you got trained just to get through before you basically graduate. Mm-hmm. So Derek was actually supposed to be on today, but he's stuck in traffic. So drive safe, brother. But originally I was going to kind of ask him about that because he was Marine, and then he went through training. So when you get into the military, obviously they tell you the vision, mm-hmm. They indoctrinate you, and they put you into training.
That's right.
Right. So the whole reason behind that, just like Misha's talking about, is they have to let you know what the bigger picture is for them to be able to go through and endure that type of pain and training that they're about to endure.
Right.
Because otherwise, on a day-to-day basis, they're like, what am I doing this for? Right. So the same thing happens if you don't have a vision board, if you don't have something very clear in front of you in terms of what you want to do, what you want to accomplish for the year. Because guess what? You're not going to go through the physical pains of going through the military. However, you're going to go through all kinds of emotional pains. You're going to go through all kinds of moments in which you start to doubt yourself. You'll start to question yourself, especially if you're going to be a lone wolf like Misha was in the first half of the year. You're going to go through certain struggles. Certain things aren't going to go your way. And then you're going to be like, forget this. Like, why am I doing this?
That's right.
Right. So you got to mentally condition yourself. You have to also put yourself in a strong position to know exactly what you're working for. Because if you can see on a consistent basis what you're trying to accomplish here, and you see the bigger picture, you're always going to fight through a little bit harder. Right. Clifton, you were a football star, right? but you did well as a running back, right?
Yeah, I did well.
But it wasn't always fun going through practice, right?
Of course not. It was rough. It was tough. Out of breath. You come from practice from the previous day with aches and pains, and it was rough. But obviously the goal was obviously to have fun playing, and to obviously to get somewhere with it. But it didn't work out that way. I tore my ACL, so yeah, I'm out of commission. But that's not the point.
Sad story.
Yeah, sad story.
But you got to know what's ahead of you, because the thing is, like, when you go, because we used to do 2-day practices, hell week and all that stuff, right?
Yep.
Which like they can't even do anymore.
Yeah, they can't.
But then, like, there's times when it's just rough. It's hot. Mm-hmm. You're just completely dehydrated. They weren't big on drinking water back then.
Mm-hmm. You had to earn that.
Yeah, they told you you're weak if you drink.
Yeah.
But you wouldn't put up with it if you didn't know that you're going to be playing in the game, or if you had the prospect at least to compete for that position, right?
Agreed.
So if they just said like, I don't know, just go out there and practice, like you'd be like, for what?
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
I probably never play, to be honest.
We would all quit whatever we're doing.
Yeah.
So anytime that you guys are in a position where you feel like you want to quit, or you don't see the point, go back and ask yourself, how strong is your vision? Or do you even have one?
Yeah, like
Go ahead.
you sure?
I'm
just kidding.
Lone Wolf is in
Not
district
sure, not
somewhere.
No, you. No, I think like people, like myself included, for sure, like they don't want to set parameters or set goals because they're scared of their responsibility, and they're scared of failing and reach or not reaching that goal. Because then that creates negative emotion. People just want to skate by, including myself. But the thing is, if you don't set goals, then you won't beat yourself up if you don't get to it. So there's no like negative and positive, pulling in both directions to get you to where you need to be.
You're not holding yourself accountable in any way.
You're not holding yourself accountable. Your accountability a lot of the times with, people that, didn't grow up super rich was like, let me just make enough to where I'm like paying my bills, doing my things, just getting by enough for next month. But if you set like a big goal for yourself, then you have to go to that goal, not the goal of just getting by and paying your bills. So I think like having clear goals, even if you don't reach them, and that's okay, don't make it super okay, because then it's just floating in the wind, but making it reachable and making it to where you actually feel like there's a direction that you are 100% going towards, that's, I think, been the biggest unlock. And almost like sometimes it's almost like fabricating like scarcity. Like for me, like what I do is like a lot of the times I'll like get paid and then I'll like put my money somewhere else. Like I'll put it in crypto or something to where like I can't see it, so I always feel like, oh man, like I'm broke as hell, but I really got, a little bit of reserves here and there, you know what I mean? Like, but it's almost like a way for me to like psychologically remind myself, like, you got to keep hustling, you got to keep going, So I think like just kind of like changing your mindset and creating new tricks for yourself to see what motivates you, see what doesn't motivate you, see what doesn't hold you accountable, and then just like adjust your life accordingly to get you there. Like some people, it is a vision board. For me, a vision board is good, but it doesn't really, for me personally, it doesn't really do it for me. And that's okay. I've found my own hacks, and I think for people, they just got to find their own path, their own hacks as to like, get to where they need to be. Some people, they're like, oh, they try to stay humble because if they get too in their head, they stop working. You know what I mean? So their kind of hack is like, hey man, I haven't done anything yet. And they don't give themselves a pat on the back. I think sometimes we give ourselves too much of a pat on the back till we don't reach our full potential.
That's right.
Because it's easy. It makes you feel good about yourself, but you're not being realistic about how you want to grow. You're gonna end up in the same position as next year that you're in now, or probably worse because you're a year older.
Yeah.
No, I mean, like if you're not moving forward, you're moving
Right.
backwards. Like that's how life works.
Yeah.
Right. And going back to, you were saying and vision and training and exercising and applying. Something that within the last month, the last 3 days, something that I've been realizing is that pretty much all the goals that I have for the next year are going to be a team effort.
Yeah.
Right. And it hit me too, because something like, let's use the football analogy that you were talking about just now. You never seen a quarterback go to the field by himself, and you never seen the team going to the field without a quarterback, right? So as long as you guys and all of us understand that it's a team effort, right? Then the company itself as a whole and individually is going to start growing, right? So that's what it is. Like Albert, you just mentioned, when you gotta maintain the vision. A football team, what's the vision? To win. Let's make it to the Super Bowl and win, right? And the team that is more focused is the one that makes it, right? And the focus is something very important, because throughout the business, you're gonna go up, right?
Yep.
And then you're gonna drop like a rock. And when you drop like a rock, because circumstances outside your control, and I want to talk about my own experience. Something happened with my team that I was so focused on it trying to fix it, trying to find out what it was happening to make it better, that because of lack of balance, right? I want to put it that way, because of lack of balance kind of, put me behind this month.
Yep.
Right. And going back to it, okay, so I said it before. When you have a problem, you got to face it, you got to fix it, and then you got to move on. So it took a time to actually face it, right?
Yep.
To really realize how the problem was and how we could fix it in order for us and keep on moving forward. So I feel like the first 2 weeks of the month, they were like wasted.
Mm-hmm.
But man, they really, really taught me a lot,
Well, yeah, it's important to focus on certain areas like what you were dealing with at that time. It's important to address it. Like you shouldn't just ignore it. If it's right. Problematic within your business, anytime you ignore it, you're fooling yourself. You're acting like it's just going to magically go away. When in fact, it's your business. If you don't deal with it, who's going to deal with it? Right. So you spent some time, but then, yeah, John and I did have this conversation with you. We told you, all right, it's important that you addressed it. Glad you did, but now you're spending too much time dwelling on it.
Right.
And you're trying to focus too much energy on something you can't fix right away anyway.
That's right.
And this is probably the biggest piece of advice that Sean Mike has taught me since I've been here. He's taught me a lot of things, but this is probably the one main thing, because I'm also a very analytical person. I also like to consider myself a problem solver, right? So then whenever I see things, like typically most things kind of come easy to me. In terms of me actually executing it, that's another story. But I know I can generally figure out problems pretty quickly and identify it and figure out a solution. But when it comes to what Sean talked to me about was he's like, there are certain problems that you can fix and you want to address it right away. But then you have the key in moving your business forward is for you to identify quickly what's the immovable object.
Right.
If there's an immovable object, recognize it and acknowledge it's an immovable object. Doesn't mean you're not going to deal with it later. It's just you recognize you can't do it right now. But if it's an immovable object, recognize that, move around it, go figure out everything else around it first. Because otherwise you don't want to keep pushing on an immovable object, because you could be here pushing against the wall all day.
Absolutely.
You act like you're doing something, but it does nothing for you.
And going back to the ignoring the problem, that's something that you should not ever do, because the problem doesn't disappear. What you do, and you just are prolonging your agony, right?
Or it intensifies the problem.
Yeah, and then it becomes bigger, right? And then when the bomb explodes, you go like, man, I should have taken care of it like a long time ago, right? But again, the point I was trying to make is, again, you gotta understand that throughout our career in as an entrepreneur, you're gonna go, through the ups and downs of everything, right? And when you go through the down, to the valleys, I'm not calling it the valley. When you go through a valley, you just gotta know that you got a team behind you, and you know that if you cannot solve the problem, you got to go back to your mentors, right? And it's okay to ask for help. In my case, again, because of my first 6 months of the year, I was being a lone wolf. It didn't really give me the tough skin per se to act, or the experience, not the tough skin, the experience to actually deal with certain situations that they've been happening. But now it's like, okay, it happened. I already know what the consequences are going to be, what the result could be, whatever, right? So it's a lot easier just to stop dwelling, like you mentioned, on the problem, and then start working, right? So now I feel like I'm catching up with everything, and just know that, guys, that you're gonna go up, you're gonna go down, but when you're down, you just gotta keep on pushing. Because something that I told John and I told you this morning, I felt that for the last couple of weeks, the business was testing me, just to see if I was going to stick or not. And, I said that to myself, and I said, you know what? If I can survive this, man, I can survive anything.
Yeah. We're I wanted to have you on because I want you to tell everyone how much you're struggling. No, but but no, I wanted to have you on because of, you've been dealing with some stuff, and then you dwelled on it for a little too long.
Mm-hmm.
And you have people that care about you and your business. So we straight just told you, like, stop wasting time on this. Like, what are you doing?
Right.
And you didn't take it the wrong way, because you understood where we're coming from.
Mm-hmm.
And then you you put in the work, and then now you're trying to turn things around.
Right.
But like we can't like pretend like everything's great all the time. Like it's not. I mean, it doesn't mean everything's bad all the time either, because if you think everything's bad all the time, that's very unproductive. You're never going to have an opportunity to give yourself to succeed, because you're focusing too much on things that doesn't help you grow your business.
Right. And not only that, I mean, the lesson that I learned too is when you are teaching your people, because you're going to continue hiring. In fact, I mean, I just hired 3 more people. That was a good thing that came out of all this mess. I got 3 new agents working. But it also gives you the experience that when somebody in your team or in the team goes through it, now you have the right, per se, to say, you know what, I went through the exact same thing, and this is what I did, and you just got to keep going, and things going to be okay,
Right.
So it teaches you a lesson as well,
Yeah, getting your butt kicked is the best teacher.
Oh, I love it.
It is. It is. Absolutely is.
Because it's funny. I was like, so my roommate Logan, he's part of like a boxing class. He's part of a boxing gym, and I do MMA, but we don't really spar that much. But we sparred at his gym, and like I was just observing everybody, and we're like body shots only. We are all taking turns like boxing the coach, and like I just saw everyone be so scared because like, and I'm like, why are you scared? It's body shots. You're not like my mentality is like I overthink stuff, but I always put things in perspective of like worst case scenario. I'm like, I'm not gonna die from a body shot. So everyone was surprised. I was just like I mean,
you could, but
you can die doing a lot of
unlikely,
things.
very
I'm gonna
unlikely.
say the probability of that is very low.
Yes.
So like, and so, I was going hard at the coach. I was like, yo, let's go. Like, I'm trying to learn, hit me hard. Like, I want to get better. Like, I don't care. And everyone was looking at me like, wow, this guy's a savage. This guy, it's like, no, it's body shots only. We had gloves on. Like, it wasn't a big deal.
Right.
But it's just like, how I like to think of things is just like worst. And I'm saying like dark worst case scenario. What's the like darkest worst case scenario? Addressing that and being like, is that realistic? And is that big of a deal?
Right.
And most of the time, it's not that big of a deal. And a lot of the times, it's like, okay, that's not that big of a deal. Let me put that to the side, and let me deal with what I can deal with. Let me address what I can address. I think like a lot of the times we dwell on things because it's like way bigger of a deal in our heads.
Yeah.
That's why my biggest coping, anytime I'm going through stuff at the office, we talk about it, is like I chop it up with everybody, like say it out loud. I joke about it. I see how people respond to it. I talk to Joanne. I talk to you guys, like, just to like get it out. And then after that, like week, if that, it's kind of like just a joke after that.
Yeah.
But just like we sometimes we build it up in our heads more than it needs to be, but just like addressing it and being like, is this that big of a deal? It's usually not, especially once you say it out loud. People are like, bro, you'll be okay. You're not going to die.
Yeah. No, I think that boxing analogy is like the perfect thing, because it's like you're capable of a lot more. You're strong, a lot stronger than you actually think. Yeah. But too many people are trying to avoid getting hit. Yeah. Too many people are trying to avoid taking punches, trying to take any damage. They're trying to just have it go as smoothly as possible and just have nothing but upside.
Yeah.
Right. But the thing is, if you've never been punched, when you actually get in that position, you're probably going to wilt. You're probably going to go down because you've never been through it. You never experienced it. You never tried to fight through it. Whereas in reality, you're like, all right, is that the best you got? Just keep hitting me. Like this is nothing compared to what I'm actually capable of withstanding. Mm-hmm. So that's one thing that we all need to continuously be aware of. Like we can't just try to avoid pain. I mean, like when people come in and they talk about chargebacks and debt, like whenever they come in, they're like, I have this much, and I'm like, and I'm not being dismissive. Like it's not like I don't care, but I'm like, look, everyone as you go further and further up, as you continue to grow within this business, the people above you have all dealt with more debt than you ever have even imagined, right? Mm-hmm. So like when there's some people that say, oh, I have X amount, and granted, some of them are not small, but it's just like John and I are like, that's like, you call that a debt? like it's really nothing, because the thing is, we also know at the end of the day, we're gonna keep working, and we're not gonna let this one thing define us. This one setback, this one difficulty. I mean, if I let this define me, then my career's over.
That's
Yeah,
right.
for real.
Right. But if I'm like, I'm just going to keep moving forward, I'm just going to keep continuing to grow. Like in the grand scheme of things, this will actually mean nothing. And I'm saying this from experience now because I've been in the industry for 15 years. In January with FFL, it'll be 4 years, and all the things that I thought were going to crush me at that moment, like I can hardly remember them now. Like it's only I only recollect about them when someone talks to me about a certain situation, and I think about them like, oh yeah, I remember that situation, and it was probably much bigger than whatever you guys are currently dealing with because, and it's not like, oh, I'm such a big man or anything like that. It's just entirely, I've outlasted it. I've been here longer than you. That's all you got to do. You just got to outlast that problem.
Exactly. And not only that, I mean, you got to look at it in the sense that every problem that we go through is preparing you for something better.
Yep.
Right. And you're the perfect example because, you're saying, okay, well, somebody comes to you with a problem and then you go, well, I already went through that.
Yep.
But now you have a big business, right?
Yep.
So those little problems have been prepare you for something bigger, which is here and now, right? And that's how you got to look at it. That's how now I started looking at it too. Well, it's preparing me for something better and bigger.
Right.
And going back to the better and bigger, it got better because I mean, out of the sudden, boom, 3 people. I mean, already hired,
right.
And the 3 of them are like all excited. I want to start working and this and that. And it goes again to go back and say, well, now I gotta be their coach, And you cannot be the coach if you are like dwelling and feeling defeated. Can do that.
Well, I think that's the most rewarding feeling actually. For me to go back and tell someone now, like, oh, it's not that big of a deal.
That's right.
Right. Because then, like, I'm actually saying this with 100% confidence. I mean, assuming this person is going to continue to work, and I know that you're going to continue to work. So, like, when I tell you these things, like, there's no wavering. There's no like doubt whether or not I think you can do it,
right,
or whether you can get out that situation. I know for sure.
Right.
I love when bad things happen. You know why?
Why is that?
You know why, Clifton? I know you're looking at me weird. Because then I can prove how much of a savage I am.
That's true.
No, like think about that. That's the one time that when you're tested and then you stand up and then it's like, oh, okay, like this guy's been through something. Everyone wants their street cred or whatever. Like you can, there's plenty of opportunities to earn your stripes in this business. It's tough. So if you can overcome it, you're war hard and then you can show that to other people.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, and the higher that you go, the bigger problems you start to face. And then if you continue to move up, and that basically means you acknowledge there's a problem, you deal with it the best that you can, even if it's a little bit at a time, but you just keep moving forward.
And not only that, I mean, it actually shows you that you are actually growing.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because if there was no problems,
right,
that means that you're stuck in the exact same place.
That means you're really comfortable and you're just cruising and you're not growing.
Exactly.
And you're not dealing with things that matter too.
But when you are going through your business and you are actually going through problems, then that's when you got to pat yourself in the back and say, you know what, I must be doing something good.
Yeah.
Because I have an issue, and that means that my company, my business is growing.
Yeah.
Right. And going back to the numbers and everything, I said, you know what, the company grew in in the last 6 months. I mean, it did so much better. Another thing that I learned within the last 6 months is to actually have better communication with my team. To be able to manage and help somebody across the country, that's actually been an amazing experience for me as well.
Right.
I mean, everything prepares you for something.
It's empowering you because you recognize you can do it to some degree here.
Mm-hmm.
Why can't you just continue to multiply that and to higher degrees?
Exactly. So I mean, like you say, when something bad happens, just know, okay, something's happening. That means I'm growing. I'm moving forward.
Yeah.
Right.
I feel like this is a very dark holiday reflection because we're talking about bad things, but to take it one step further, I mean, in terms of like bad things happening to you, your attitude towards it is everything.
Right.
So I remember, like, so just a full disclosure, like when I first started this business, there was some bad stuff that happened and I wasn't prepared for that moment yet because I hadn't experienced it. I hadn't gone through it. So that was the first time these things happened. And part of me was like, I was like, oh, what am I going to do here? And I was like scared and I was worried. And I was thinking like, what if this thing crushes me? What if I don't know how to figure this thing out? And then there was times I actually would reach out to Andrew, or I'd reach out to Sean, and I would expect them to give me some comforting words, right? Sean did not.
What? Sean?
Which I mean, which I appreciate because he would minimize everything. He was like, not that big of a deal. And like part of me was thinking like, is he just not listening to me? Because does he not recognize how big of a deal this is? And then, so at the time, that's how I felt. in retrospect, I look back, I'm like, oh, he's dealt with way worse than this. And like he was minimizing it because he recognizes if you keep working, you'll figure it out. Right. But that's one thing. I mean, and he doesn't have a very soft rose delivery. If you guys haven't figured that out yet, but that's what makes him who he is, and that's what makes him the great leader that we need to keep pushing our company forward.
And
Andrew Taylor, on the other hand, he was actually very different personality wise, and he'd be like, "Oh, don't worry about it, bro. It's cool," and blah blah blah. He would go through all this with me too, and like if he didn't necessarily give me all the solutions, but he just kind of let me know he's there. He kind of let me know he had my back if I needed it, and it got to the point where I was like, okay, these guys believe in me, or at least these guys believe in what I'm doing, and then I have to keep proving to them that I'm going to be worth their time. And then it got to the point where, every time I would just reach out from time to time, if I'm stuck with a problem that I don't know how to figure out yet. And then it got to the point where I just stopped asking them. And the thing is, it's not because I got figured it out. Now all of a sudden, like I have no more problems. It's just now that I can extrapolate based off of my experience, I know I can get through that. So I just have to just stay calm, understand it for what it's worth, accept personal responsibility for everything that I did in that situation. Because like that's the fastest and easiest way to fix something. Because once you acknowledge that, then you know what part is yours, and you can go and address that directly because you can change that. Everything that's outside of that scope, then you can kind of attack it, piece by piece.
That's right.
But then once you extrapolate that data that you've already acquired because you've been able to overcome certain types of problems. Now you're like, okay, well, why can't I fix everything? It doesn't mean like you're going to figure it out right away. It doesn't mean that you're absolutely going to overcome it, but it gives you that power and that gives you that confidence to know, like any situation any jam I get myself into, I can most likely figure it out. And at the very worst, even if I can't, I can reach out to Andrew and Sean. I got people in my corner, and I obviously, I mean, it goes without saying, I have my entire team that I know. I got a lot of people in my corner, a lot of people that would have my back in certain situations. So I need a Cliff to go take someone out. No,
Hood activity.
That story reminded me years ago, and you know what? I'm kind of surprised that I didn't think about it. I mean, at the beginning of the month. But I used to have another business in the past. I mean, I used to have a what I thought it was a pretty decent real estate portfolio, and I felt like I was done, with my life. Okay, good. I'm gonna retire young and taken care of. But I mean, things happened outside my control, which was the market. The market crashed, right? And I lost lots of properties. And I have a friend, very very well off guy, and entrepreneur and stuff like that. And back then I called him, and like you said, you call Sean, and so I called this friend of mine, and I was venting with him and telling him, hey dude, I just lost this apartment building, I lost this house, and I lost that one, and I lost this, and so much money, and this and that. And I was just in my pity party for 15-20 minutes, letting him know how bad it was. And like you said, all I was looking for was for the worst, the compassion, like say, oh, don't worry about it, it's gonna be okay, something like that. And then when I was done, I asked him, so what do you think? And then he goes, are you done? And I said, yeah. And I said, oh, well, congratulations. And I went like, congratulations? What do you mean congratulations? I mean, I just told you that I lost millions of money in real estate. And then he goes, yeah, that's why I'm congratulating you. And I said, why? And then he goes, because you just got better.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, well, actually, you're right. And then he said, the most important thing that you can lose is time, because the money, you can always make it again.
Right. Facts.
And I said, like, oh my God, that's right.
Well, it's important in those situations, because the thing is, people always tell you these little like platitudes and tell you, congratulations, you've leveled up. And like, you can be like, yeah, okay, that makes sense. I actually did. I went through this. It didn't kill me. I still have an opportunity to come back and fix it. I can change it. But then it's all in your perspective, because if you look at it like, no, this is it. Like, I'm ruined. You're still, I mean, you're still technically right, because however you choose to view that, that's how you're going to attack that problem, or how you're going to address
it. I mean, back then, I mean, I remember what I came to my mind. I said, well, okay, yeah, I had this much. Now I'm broke. But I said, but I'm not poor. I have knowledge. I have the experience. And that's another thing that I thought to myself. I said, well, I'm a better and safer investment because now I have experience, right?
Yep.
And then, go back to put your head down. You gotta be humble and say, okay, I'm gonna accept my defeat. I'm gonna leave my wounds for a few minutes and then let me go to work, right? And that's what I did. I should have thought about that. That conversation at the beginning of this month because I was very frustrated. But
But people get carried away with their emotions, and that's
right.
That's the reason why.
I think people don't know how to I think people don't know how to take an L. A lot of people take themselves so seriously. They think people care what they're care about their lives and care about whether they fail or not. It's most people got their own problems. Most people got their own issues. Most people don't care that you failed. Just fail. It's okay. Learn from it and move on. Because man, I think a lot of the times we tie our ego, especially into business, things that we value, our crafts, so that if we don't succeed in it, it's personal. We take it very personal. And that's a good thing. That means we care. But you don't want to get emotionally over leveraged in your business or anywhere in life, right, to where if that's taken away, man, you feel like a part of you is destroyed.
Well, you got always remember that failure is part of success, right?
Absolutely.
And we said earlier, if you're not failing, that means that you're not moving forward.
Right. Mm-hmm. Well, going back to your point as far as taking an L, this is the way you got to look at it. Taking an L, there's absolutely nothing wrong with it. If you're afraid of taking an L, you actually should look at the people that are around you, because if they're constantly sticking in your face, you're like, oh, you loser, you failed at this also. It's if they're constantly there to try to point out every little small loss in your life, they're actually really the losers, because why do you have so much time to be watching my entire life?
Clifton,
paying
you're a
attention
loser.
Every single thing.
Thank you.
That's what Clifton treats me. But keep going.
No, but in reality, what does it really matter?
Yeah,
right. What power do they have for you? They don't cut your check. They're not giving you your next course of action. They're not responsible for anything else that goes on in your life. They're just there to point out little things. And at the end of the day, it's okay, actually, I feel bad for you if you're focusing on all of my L's, because at least with my L's, I'm progressing because I'm learning from them. I'm moving forward. I'm trying different things. I'm progressing, even though I'm not necessarily successful in this one single endeavor, but I'm moving forward constantly. Mm-hmm. And you're just here focusing on my activity.
Sometimes it's your significant other too.
That happens. You look at Cliff like he's your significant other.
Please.
Sometimes.
But we just wanted to kind of share that, a little bit of that with you. During the holidays, I didn't get a chance to actually talk about the holidays itself, but I love the food during the holidays. I love and not that I love to eat that much, but I love spending time with my family. Being able to spoil my nieces and nephews and be I'm blessed to be able to be in a position to actually have money now, to be able to be yeah, whatever you guys want, let's get it. Let's get it twice, mm-hmm. And that's such a great feeling to see that look on their faces. And, it's just a lot of fun. And I've realized that that's really what I'm seeking during these holidays, because I know money itself is not necessarily a motivating force, because as a kid, we didn't really celebrate holidays. We didn't have money, but I don't know. I also didn't feel bad about it. So I was I knew very early on, money didn't do it for me. I knew very early on, material stuff just didn't do it. I love being able to get it if I want to. I love having that freedom above all else, but the material stuff itself doesn't make that big of a difference.
All right. Everything is replaceable at some point.
Right. So
what that's, I'm sorry, just talking about the holidays, the holidays are time to reflect, on what you have accomplished, what you have, what you don't have, and more than anything, what you can create in the future.
Right.
As long as you have your health, that's the most important thing. You continue moving forward.
Right. So think about, put some real hard thought into it, and do this for yourself. Do it for your upcoming year. Hopefully, with a ton of success. Think about, what are you going to change? What are you going to change for yourself? What are you going to change for your family around you? What are you going to change for everyone around you? How are you going to change your team to help them, put them in a better position? All these things that we can change. And one thing that we do know is change is inevitable.
That's right.
Right. There's not there, even if you choose not to change is still going to happen. Mm-hmm. So the question is going to be, are you going to be proactive and force the change and try to end up with the change that you want? or you're going to sit back and do nothing and accept the change that's going to happen to you. Right. So hope all that was something good for you guys to reflect on. And I hope that you guys do put some thought into this, because I'm looking forward to a big year for all of you guys, because I know how much I believe in everybody on this team, everybody out here watching. You know, I know that you guys are all capable of so much, and we're going to grow regardless, because there's no way I'm going to stop working. There's no way I'm going to stop investing into my business. We just had a bunch of staff meetings, and I'm looking to double my staff. I'm looking to put more money into this. I'm looking to put in more work. So, I mean, I want to make sure that everyone that's on here, that's part of this team, that you guys all have the same opportunity, and, maximize it, get the most out of it for this upcoming 2022. And, just wanted to send out a really heartfelt happy holidays and Merry Christmas to all you guys. And I hope that you guys enjoy and just have a great time, and let's come back ready to work.
Let's go to work.
Anything else you guys want to share?
No, just as a reminder or as a last note, make your business plan. I mean, that's important. That your business plan, I mean, is what's going to take you to the next level. And enjoy your families.
Happy Kwanzaa, Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, and I'm coming next year. I'm getting back in the business. I got my test early January. Watch out for me. I'm taking all you guys down. All you guys, watch out for me.
Challenge accepted from all you guys, right?
You know what I'm saying?
All right, guys. Well, I appreciate you guys getting on. We will see you guys next week. Enjoy your holidays. Be safe out there, and we'll make it a productive week. See you guys.
Stay blessed, guys.
Bye.